What you say, marry your mother's an alcoholic?
Tell me you can't dance to that.
It's got no hook.
Go to your room, you grounded.
For what?
Because you like terrible music.
That was rhetorical, so no need to answer that. Nosebleeds unavoidable, so took your head back and...
Donnerstag. Donnerstag, Freitag, Samstag, Sonntag.
Wait, you need to practice your German with people your own age.
I don't need friends. I'm gangster. I don't like it here. It's boring.
I know you might be still mad at me by bringing us here. One day, you lighting the hip-hop world on fire, collecting all your Source Awards. You thank me.
Source Awards. Is that as far as I get in your dream?
All right, you're
Can
right.
I get a Grammy or something? Yeah. Let me get some claps, y'all. Yeah.
Hey! Wie heißt du?
Morris.
I'm Katrin.
You make cute couple. I'm not a player, I just crush a lot. Katrin? Hello.
Why you out here causing trouble?
I didn't do anything.
Start thinking with your brain and not your dick.
Hey, nobody speak, nobody get choked. Only facts, I will shoot up. Baby duck if it quacks with a Ruger.
Can you rap? Can I rap? Come on. I got sick flow. Hit it.
I'm the best, screaming yes. What more can I say?
Love will make you do some stupid things.
Nobody speak, nobody get choked. Hey,
How'd you know it was a girl?
It's always a girl, Mo.
There's no rush to be old.
nobody speak.
So be young, be you.
Give it up for Morris!
Nobody speak, nobody get choked.
So I hear you wanted by the cops?
He's a gangster. Gangster rapper.
I'm not trying to keep you from experiencing anything.
So I'm not in trouble?
Oh, no. You grounded like a motherfucker.
Here to shoot another day.
Thanks, everybody. Greg, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everybody.
Morris from America, man. I love this movie.
Thank you.
It
Thank
is.
you. I do, too.
It is so tender. It's such a wonderful story about you and this kid sort of adapting to this other life. How did you get involved with it?
It was brought to me. My agent said there was some interest, and then I read the script, I fell in love with it. Met with Chad Hartigan I was doing my show, Mr. Robinson. Anybody see Mr. Robinson?
Yeah, you were here for it.
It's canceled. But, so yeah, met with Chad, and then for some reason he thought I didn't like it. He thought I wasn't into it. And the next thing he heard was I was into it, and then we, went to Germany.
What drew you to it? What made you want to play this dad? Because I don't think we've seen you be funny, but I don't know if we've ever seen you be this sort of real and tender.
I was drawn to it. I love the relationship between the father and the son. I hadn't seen something like that. I appreciated the challenge of towing that line between friendship and fatherhood. I love how my character was written. I love the words he said, the vernacular.
You're a good dad. He's like a really good dad.
Yeah, but strong, authoritative, but also he knows that he's put his son in this predicament of being in Germany. The kid's mother, my wife, has passed on, so he's a single dad. And, it's all these different things, and the kid is 13. So it's all these things that's being thrown at this kid who he's just not ready, but he still faces these things like a champ. And just to be there to guide him, I thought that would be interesting.
And the father kind of sees him facing these things like a champ and has clearly has a lot of respect for his kid. As much as he's has to be authoritative and has to be a dad, he has clearly so much respect for his child.
Yeah, I really enjoyed how, there's a part in there where the kid kind of curses at, Morris curses at Curtis, and Curtis, he's like, hey, okay, you chill, I'll chill too. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, there's some contentiousness there, but it still is like it is that respect. He knows he needs him on his team. He knows, he also knows he has him in this position of being in a foreign country as a 13-year-old with no mom. So he's got to respect him. He's got to, show that he knows that other side.
Did you have any male figures in your life, or do you live a life that you sort of modeled Curtis after, modeled your performance a little bit?
Yeah. My father and my mother, like it was like a good cop, bad cop thing. Mother being a good cop. So my father was definitely the one who was like, I'm not your friend, I'm your father, and I respect that. And so that's what made it like really interesting for this, because it was like, that's all I've ever like really known, seen a parent and the child relationship versus them getting along like this movie.
Did your mother say the thing that my mother used to say? Don't make me get your dad in here.
Yeah. Don't make me call you father.
Mom plays the good cop. I'll pull the bad cop in here. He's gonna go down.
One time I thought I was about to get saved. My father was like hitting me with a belt and stuff, and then my mother was like, Jack. I was like, oh, thank you. She said, take him in the kitchen. So.
So the rest of us can watch.
She didn't want to hit the ceiling fan.
So you said it at the top. You had this great show that unfortunately got canceled. So I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, it's been long enough. I'm okay with it.
What's that? I'm always curious. Obviously, when I ask what that's like, the obvious answer is it sucks. But it's got to be one of those weird feelings where it's like you had a show, which is a great privilege in many ways.
I was, I'm still thankful to have had the opportunity. And, there are good things and bad things that come along with it. Obviously, miss the camaraderie, miss the working with those people and all those people being put to work, miss the paychecks, stuff like that. But then there's the other side of it where it's like, okay, I don't know if we could have gone down that road for 7 years or whatever. So,
Right, it would have left out a lot of other opportunities that have sort of come your way. Like, would you have been able to do Morris if
that happens all the time, where and it's a good thing, because it's like certain things that I didn't get, where if I had gotten some, that thing would have gone for a few months, but I would not have been able to play Daryl, So it's certain things you might not get something, but you have to go, oh, okay, and see what's coming down the line.
What did you think about Germany as this kind of, as much as they're sort of fish out of water, there is this sort of metaphor for them being kind of black in a white world, and the assumptions that are made about Morris and who he is because of his interests by all these white people around him, which I thought, as much as it's about Germany, it felt like it could be about America and being black in America.
Yeah, I think Chad kind of, didn't go down that too far down that lane.
Preachy. He doesn't hit it
not
too
preachy,
hard.
very smartly. He didn't. It was very much that. It was. We had a good time in Germany and stuff, and I didn't feel any of that. But it was, very much what you just said for that part of the movie. Yeah. Was that an answer?
Well, there's elements where people assume, and you see it in the trailer, like she calls him a gangster rapper. At one point, it's assumed that he might be selling drugs to the other students, and it's clearly because he's the outsider in this situation.
Yeah, outsider, black kid, but also outsider.
Yeah.
I think that kind of comes across.
You have a part in what is probably the biggest television phenomenon happening right now, Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot, yes.
Mr. Robot.
Yes.
You guys watch Mr. Robot? Why'd it take 3 times to
I know, right? That's Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot. How did you get this part, and what's it like being on that show?
It is. It's intense. It's fun. It's very. I'm scared to talk about it. It's so secretive. So, please don't ask me any questions about my character. But it's dope. It's. I hadn't watched it. I'm cool with Christian Slater. We've done, a couple of projects together. So, it was just kind of coming out. They were writing good stuff about it, and I was like, oh man, that's cool, And then that season came and went. I hadn't watched it. Then I was approached about it. My agent was like, hey, they're looking at you for this character. So I watched the first season. I watched like in 2 days. Just one of binge watching, like, let me get home so I can finish, checking it out. it just blew my mind. So then I talked to Sam Ishmael, and he was telling me about the character. He didn't even tell me, everything about the character at the time. He told me what he was expecting from the character, and what brought me to his attention was he had seen some scenes for Morris. So he felt like, okay, you could handle what I'm dishing out.
What's it like to be cool with Christian Slater?
It's you saw that name drop? Okay, yeah.
It wasn't the name drop. It was I'm cool with.
I'm cool with, yeah. He's the greatest, man. We was in Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
Oh, right.
And then we were in a stage production at the Hollywood Bowl last year for 3 nights of Spamalot. And I played King Arthur, and he was one of my knights, knights of the round table. So we had a ball. And then Jesse Tyler Ferguson was one of my knights. So while we were shooting Mr. Robot, Christian and I went over there to check out Jesse in his play here in New York.
Oh, his one-man show, right?
Yes, it's amazing. He does like 40 characters. It's crazy.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
When you, as an actor and comedian, what's it like for you when you watch an actor take on 40 roles at once? Do you get jealous, like I want to do that, or do you go, oh, you can have that?
No, I'm just very appreciative. I'm like, I could have done 7 of those, but I'm appreciative, and I just I salute him. It's so much work. Yeah. It's so much work. He pulled it off. It's amazing.
You do a voice in the upcoming Seth Rogen movie Sausage Party, right?
Yes, I am. They call me Mr. Grits.
Mr. Grits?
Mr. Grits. I'm one of the non-perishables, and we're like the elders of the grocery store, products.
I've heard this movie is. I haven't seen it. I've heard it's bonkers. I've heard it's just totally crazy.
It's super wild. It's like this is the end, but you can go further because it's a cartoon.
This is the End is probably top 5 comedies in the last 20 years. I think that movie is
Right on.
so good,
Right on.
so funny.
Thank you. So it's that sensibility with as a cartoon though, so you can go farther, if you know what I'm saying. So it's and poor kids are gonna see the commercial and go, I want to see that. No, so it's so bad, but it's really crazy.
You were in This Is the End with Danny McBride and Seth and James Franco, and then you were also in Eastbound with Danny McBride. Are you gonna be making an appearance at all in Vice Principals, their new show?
That's for me. No. He asked me, but I was too busy. I hated to miss it.
They wrote you an amazing part on Eastbound.
Reg Mackworthy
and Black Biker Week is like the funniest thing I think that there has been on television in a long time.
Oh, right on, man. Thank you.
What was that like for you when not just when you got the first scripts for Reg Mackworthy in the first season, but when they handed you the scripts for I think it was the 3rd season, and it was like Reg Mackworthy leads Black Biker Week gang through Myrtle Beach.
It was dope because I came out, in an eye patch and stuff.
And your first line was tight dick player.
Tight dick player. Danny started talking about like doing Pineapple Express. Like, we'll come hang out on the beach, film a little bit, and then it got closer and closer to it. And it was one of those things where I wasn't needed on The Office for those 2 weeks or whatever time it was. So it was just worked out perfect. The first, those first 2 seasons. And it's, I love going, playing with Danny, kicking it. It's always awesome. I first saw him, I saw Foot Fist Way, but when we filmed Pineapple Express, and he was tied up, he was improvising, he was like, I came to your house with fish tacos. It was just like he was going in. I'm like, who was this? Who was this dude? I always
kind of like the
loved.
collective comedy response, I think, to Danny McBride at the time, because he hadn't been doing stand-up. He hadn't been sort of working his way through the comedy world or through the ranks. He just sort of appeared in movies and kind of blew everybody away.
Yeah, he just came out like guns blazing. And he, all those cats, they just raise your game, especially like in This Is the End. Seth improvising, Franco, Jonah, it's almost impossible to get a word in. So you gotta, be a sniper You just come in, okay, I'm good, got it. Yeah.
I got to prove myself here all the time. Got to get in there.
Yeah, man. They raise you up, though. It's dope.
There is one of my favorite things to watch on the internet is from the first season of Eastbound and Down, and it's the deleted scene with you, Will Ferrell, and Danny McBride. I've interviewed you before, and I don't remember if I've talked to you about this, but I got to be honest, anytime I interview you ever, I'm going to bring it up because it's like my favorite thing. And it's you trying not to laugh while Will Ferrell refers to a dream he had where he was making love to his wife and his son Gabriel came into the room.
All improv. He improvised all of that. And his goal is to destroy the take. He's trying to destroy you. And that's so you got Will Ferrell improvising and talking about my son, Gabriel. You let that boy watch. Let him learn like I learned from my father and his father before him. Like, so we just sitting there and, I mean, tears are forming. And then you got to hold eye contact with Danny McBride. And any like sliver of a smile, it was over.
I think at one point in the middle of trying to do it, goes, "Don't you laugh, motherfucker," to you, and you're just like, just sweating and crying.
Oh yeah, that was one of the things that make you a better actor. I think is you can hold it through that. You can get through anything.
Are those the kind of sort of sets that you dream to work on as a comedic actor, where it's all about finding the thing that's going to make you, the actors, laugh and hoping that translates to the audience?
Yes, yes, and yes. The best is when you. Excuse us for a second, everybody.
Hold on.
The best is when you, like, do the scene or what have you, and then they yell cut, and then everybody cracks up. That's like when you know you got something, special. But
is that a rarity, or does that happen a lot more than people think?
It's I wouldn't say a rarity. No, I think it's happening in a lot of stuff I've been in, and but it's nothing like that. Especially being a comedian, because you got that. I'm used to the audience, so when they just holding it, and then cut, boom, it's awesome.
What kind of relationship did you try to form with Markees, Morris, in the film before you guys started shooting, or even while you were shooting?
We met once before he left for Germany, so just to meet and say hello. And he does these super silly, funny videos called Markees Versus, and so I was a fan of that, being introduced to that by Chad. And then he was a fan of my movies or what have you. So we met and was just like instant, okay, this is my little brother. So next time I saw him, we were on set, and that's about how it went. We hung out a little bit, here and there, but his grandmother was there in Germany, and she was looking out for him, and she was, sweet, and it was like family.
The opening scene of the movie, I'm not going to give anything away, but it is. I watched the movie, and when I put it on and the opening scene started, I was immediately like, oh, I like this movie. I'm gonna like where this movie goes, because the feeling between the two of you is musical and it's real, and it feels like a really good father and son relationship that I haven't seen explored in a movie before.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that either. Especially with all the things that they both are dealing with, and with his wife's death and all that. So I thought that was important to show. I thought, I was glad to accept the challenge, and I think that's one of the things that I want to see going forward, like people being on the same team. Yeah. Let's love each other, respect each other, and let each other know what's going on.
Were you nervous jumping into this role, considering it was a bit more of a dramatic role than you normally play?
A little bit,
Did it feel challenging?
Yeah. I wanted to make sure I pulled it off and all of that, and all I can do is go in there and do the work. But Chad made me feel like, okay, this he's solid, and he knows what he wants. And he also will tell you himself that the directing for him is mostly in the writing, and it was very true because, I could just see. I just felt like I saw what this guy was going through, and his relationship with his son was just so important to him. And like I said, that line between fatherhood and friendship, he was straddling that line the whole time.
Very well, too. Very well. It's a really well-written script. I'm going to open it up to the audience for questions. Who has a question? First question right here. Hi.
Hi. Thanks
Hello.
for being here. So
You're welcome.
being the comedic actor that you are, who is your ultimate inspiration, top comedic person that you vibe off of that drives you?
Richard Pryor, all day, every day. It was the best. And one of my favorite movies is Which Way Is Up, where he plays different characters, and I can always see that play. You see that movie? Where he was playing the bass and as the Reverend, being stupid. But yeah, Richard Pryor was that's an easy answer.
Richard Pryor, I feel like, is an underrated performer because I think his legend is always as a sort of incredible cultural commentator, like a sort of a comedic that way. But if you go back and watch some of his early comedy and even some of the later stuff, just as an actor and performer, he's amazing.
Yeah, and he was always grounded in reality, and so brutally honest. And in his book Prior Convictions, he would tell a story, and then you could see where the joke came from the story. And it was really, really interesting. I mean, he's timeless, and he just continues to give.
Absolutely. Next question.
Hey, Greg. Thank you for
Hello.
being here.
Thank you.
How was the photo shoot like for the movie poster?
I don't know her name, but this really eccentric, beautiful artist. She was taking our photos. We went to her flat in, did you say flat in Germany? Is that, at her apartment, whatever. And I don't even think we took that photo together. So, but it was like she took these amazing, well, she was amazing. Like she took these photos then, and then she took a bunch of photos of me with Nutella all over me. So yeah, but that I wish I knew her name. I'm sure you can look her up because she's legit.
Next question right here.
Hey, Greg.
Hello.
I thought you were great in The Office, too.
Thank you.
Do you feel there's a difference between doing a TV show versus movies?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, something like The Office, which went for 9 years, versus a movie that might go for a couple of months to a few months or more. There's that. They're shot a lot differently. The Office was different because they had what's called single camera, no audience, and then you had like these two cameras going all the time. So, and then they could move around. Like in a movie, you might have just two cameras, one with the next to each other, and focus on different people or focus on the same person. But The Office, it's all. I'm not a camera guy, but it's a lot of difference as far as technical and stuff. A movie is like you create this little family, and then you never see them again. Whereas a TV show, you see people all the time. You kind of grow, you see them, and that's if you're lucky, and it stays on for a while. Like The Office, you saw people, have babies and get married and buy houses and all this stuff. So, and then with the movie, you get more time with your dialogue and with your scenes and stuff. You might take a day or two to shoot one scene, whereas TV is like, okay, we got that, we got to move, it's 11:30, we got to be done by such and such, so it's a lot quicker.
I think we have time for one more question right here.
Hey, Craig, you're one of the funniest guys in the business. I've been looking forward to this all week.
Thank you.
And I know you're a mad talented musician. I could listen to you play the piano. You're awesome. So my question is, because Morris from America has a heavy hip-hop influence, were there any particular artists or songs you guys would listen on set to fire you up? No.
There's some Biggie in the movie.
There is some Biggie. I actually rapped some Biggie in the movie. But
also the song that the movie opens with that I had never heard before. That
yeah.
I love.
Well, so that did fire us up. because it was in a scene. But it's an indie movie. It's in Germany. And we you're trying to get it done. You know what I mean? And then in Germany, it's like if you're supposed to be out by 5 o'clock, there's no going to 6 or 7 or 5:30. You're done at 5. So so it's not a lot of playing music in between. It's trying to communicate and get the lights right and all this in between scenes. Yeah. So sorry you waited all week for that.
But there is great music in the movie that will pump you up as a viewer. Not to sell it too much, but yeah.
Yeah, it's dope. Some stuff you may have heard of, and then there's an artist who they kind of show in the movie, like a poster or something, and he's got some stuff he's written for the movie. So.
When can people see Morris from America?
August 19th. Right now they can see if they have DirecTV, but August 19th it comes out in LA and New York, and then I think after that it goes more wide.
Go see Morris from America, guys. It's one of the sweetest movies of the year. It's really fantastic. Craig, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.